away from working with children and moved towards sexuality. But as I was in grad school, just one of the key things that I learned in my research, or that I identified, was how those with trauma have the same sensory challenges that those with autism and ADHD have.
Really?
So they do. Also, same with anxiety and depression. All of these diagnoses come with their entire container of sensory challenges. And the key is that when you look at it as just a combination of I guess, symptoms, of sensory symptoms, that then you have the opportunity to separate yourself from the story around the trauma and move into just, okay, I'm feeling dysregulated. I'm feeling right now that there's a lot of shaking in my body, which means that I need serotonin. And all of these things are what I learned working with children on the spectrum, was how to help bodies stay regulated so they can attend to whatever we're trying to teach. So developing movement strategies, giving movement strategies to elicit the different neurochemical responses that are causing sensory overload. And again, when you go into trigger, it is the exact same thing that happens when a child with autism goes into sensory overload. You get the tunnel vision, you get heightened sensory system, your skin is super sensitive to touch, your eyes are super sensitive to light, sounds, you might have a hard time differentiating sound. All of these are the same, symptoms, the same container of symptoms that occur whether you're triggered or if you're having sensory overload with autism. And the movement strategies that work for people with autism work for those with trauma.
Wow.
It's our bodies already have these specific ways to move that are going to elicit different neurochemicals. And these neurochemicals are so important for us to stay regulated.
Wow.
A lot of people who have not had autism don't understand their sensory system because they've never been taught about it.
I think you need to write a scholarly article about all of this. Really?
I have thought about it.
I mean, this needs to get published in some sort of journal of whatever, Fascinating. So what advice would you like to give to others listening that have experienced sexual trauma?
The advice that I would give would be to feel what you need to feel, and feel it as deeply and as much as you need. Face it, look at it, do the scary thing, because behind the scary thing is that freedom that you're really wanting, and it's worth it.
And what is that scary thing, so that people really, really know what you're talking about?
Well, it's different for everyone, and the scary thing can be looking at, what happens if I start speaking about my trauma? What happens to my family if I start speaking about this? What happens to my lovers if I let them know that I've experienced this and that I'm taking time to heal this? The scary thing is so different for everyone. Sometimes the scary thing is looking at all the ways that you held yourself back due to this trauma. Sometimes the scary thing is, that you're still choosing to be in this trauma. So that's the scary thing. Whatever the scary thing is that you're afraid to look at, just turn around and look at it.
And do you help people that have experienced sexual trauma do that?
I do.
Yeah.
That is part of my specialty, is creating safe spaces to look at, to feel, and to experience that trauma in order to rewrite it within your body.
Wow. And what are some of the results that you see in, people that have worked with you? How do they transform?
Well, I see radical transformation at rates that I haven't seen through traditional therapy methods. I see rapid self-growth and a joy for life that shines on their face. And it's it's a twinkle in the eye, and you can tell and you can see it.
Yeah.
And, I have so many success stories of, women that were stuck in the same pattern, same job, same relationship, that then after they work through their trauma, after they do the deep work, they get promoted, they get the job of their dreams, they are living in luxury houses that they've always wanted, finding the partners that are really fulfilling to them. And all of, just really finding whatever their intention is. And particularly looking at, manifesting. So how much this distortion of our life force that is happening due to trauma is, how much we're repressing it and keeping it in our body, it shows up externally in our world. When we aren't safe with our sexuality, that's our force of creation. And so people will come to me saying, I'm an artist and I haven't created in years. And I say, well, when was the last time you created? Oh, well, what happened then? Oh, well, I had a huge breakup with this person. Ah, okay.
Yeah. Aha.
So all of these things, we call them blockages, or we call them, whatever, but it's really just ways that you are not optimized because your brain is spending so much time running around your trauma and not being able to look at it. So then whenever you do actually do this work, you get that laser focused, whatever it is for your life.
And what's interesting is that the way that you work is it's not just talk therapy. I mean, this is not like traditional psychology where you're just talking to people. There's a lot more going on here.
Yes.
So what do you think is the most powerful tool for transformation, which is not just the talk therapy? It's more the experiential part of it.
Yes, absolutely. I would say that while talking and telling about your story does have its place, that it is not the totality. That we have the four bodies, the energetic, the emotional, the spiritual, and the physical body. And that we are holding the trauma in all of those. And so in order to get to the emotions and integrate your emotional body with your energetic body, with your physical body, that means that there needs to be movement. There needs to be some kind of feeling in your physical body to ground it in. And so what I do is I incorporate breath work, and I guide people through movement strategies, and we go through rituals and rites of passage. And I might be guiding you to flog yourself as we say different new mantras as we rewire with that sexual energy. We may go in and, I just had a ritual where I got to honor a woman's blood as she reclaimed her menstruation, where I was just witnessing as she was, in her feminine power. And so sometimes it looks like that. Sometimes it looks like creating the space and encouraging someone to just emotionally express, of do whatever, become a wild animal, like scream, yell. And, I do the thing where I'm like, I don't believe you. Be more wild. And, I get amped up. And
yeah.
So the sessions definitely don't look like any therapy that I've ever been to.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you know how to get people into that space where they can really, really authentically express who they are, which is unbelievable. And Liliana, maybe you could tell the people listening what the best way to get in touch with you is.
Great. So to get in touch with me, I have two websites, lilianacoventina.com if you're looking to work one-on-one. And for group stuff, you can go to pussypowermysteryschool.com or reach out on Instagram. And my Instagram handle is ppowermysteryschool.
Wow, amazing. Liliana, it was such a pleasure interviewing you. You're such an interesting creature.
Oh, thank you. I'm honored to be on this show. Thank you so much.
Yeah, this was really eye-opening for me, and I'm sure for the people listening. And thank you so much for taking the time to be with us on Divine Couples. Feel free to check us out at www.divine-couples.com. And our social media page on Instagram is @divine.couples, adding intimacy, passion, and healing to your lives. Of course, if you have any questions or comments, you can feel free to send me an email at info@divine-couples.com. Thank you so much for joining us. I am your host, Naomi Slater.